qu'au-delà des mers, là-bas sur le ciel clair, il existe une cité au séjour enchanté. Et sur les grands arbres noirs, chaque soir, vers elle s'en va tout mon espoir. J'ai deux amours, mon pays et Paris. Pareil toujours, mon cœur est ravi.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We're back, another installation of some Siege coming at you, Voltage Series style. I am the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and joining me on the desk today is going to be Whiskey Run. What you think there, Whiskey?
That's right. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Voltage Series. Wow, we're in the semi-finals already, my friend. Big quarterfinal matches yesterday. Today, we get to see two matches. Geeky taking on Myth Esports and Panu taking on the Psicopatas.
And what a W intro, too. It is Siege is the new fashion.
I love that
Everybody's starting to make their way towards the Paris SI. Man, it just gives you chills watching it. We're going to bring some banger games today, Run. I mean, we've got some powerhouse teams that have not only played each other before, but this is the spot. This is the chance. It's the semifinals. We're here to decide some folks going to the winner's circle potentially here.
That's right. The winner of both of these games go on to the grand finals on October 31st here in the Voltage Series. And honestly, on paper, EK looks like the team to beat. They have been unbelievable, right? Winners of the North Rainbow Rumble in August, head-to-head winners versus this team and Panu if they're one of the guys that make it on Friday. I mean, they have been unmatched success across the board. Like we said, Rainbow Rumble, Combine, and in the upper bracket finals there for the rest of the T2 series. These guys have put in the work, and honestly, Myth is going to have to match that intensity today if they want a chance at that grand final.
Yeah, looking at a proverbial David versus Goliath situation. Let's take a quick look at the bracket. Where exactly are we sitting, and who are we going to be seeing today specifically? You heard us mention one of them already. It is going to be Geeky Esports taking on Myth. And then for our second best of three, determining that second team going into the winner's circle to try to fight it out in the grand finals is going to be Panu taking on Psicopatas. And honestly, this is all four of these teams outside of Geeky are teams that we've kind of already been blessed to cast together. So a little bit of info. These games are going to be incredibly fun.
And the fact that we get to see both of those best of threes back to back. We're going to know exactly who's going to that grand final in just a couple hours. So got to check out these two teams, though. I know we got some graphics on the stats for them.
First game of the day, Run. Geeky taking on Myth. And this is going to be a fun one, but the story is told by where the battleground is set, right? So let's take a quick look at where this first best of three is going to start to play out, because, I mean, this is going to be kind of starting our story together, right? How are we going to be attacking this? Already, you can see Skyscraper and Nighthaven taking off very early, the textbook clubhouse map to follow it up, and that traditionally very attacker-sided border is going to get out of there as well. So our first two maps of the day is going to be Bank and Cafe. Some similarities in there, Run. And then you, of course, see Lair and Consulate taken off the board. Consulate for obvious reasons. We've seen them play this match already, I believe, one time before. They didn't want a repeat of that one. And then should fate deem it necessary, should we get what we're asking for, Chalet as a decider.
Yeah, it almost seems like the map bans are flipped, honestly. When you take a look at the head-to-head between these, We've seen Geek win on Consulate and Layer, and they lost on Cafe. And if you take a look, the fact that Geek picked into Cafe to me feels like they want some payback on this map. And then, I mean, Bank to start it off. This is going to be one that I think Myth is maybe a little bit favored on, but honestly, it is a close call. And again, Geek is the team to beat here on paper. And the fact that Myth banned out Layer, they didn't want to repeat there. That was a decisive victory for Geek. So, and I love the fact though that Myth, one of my favorite teams, banning Skyscraper to start it off. Really the map that struggled in competitive play, and I'm glad that they're not going to have to fight it out there. This is one of my favorite map pools, my friend. There it goes. There it goes. And yeah, we were talking about Geek. Okay. Obviously, Rexen is the guy he's the guy that was the MVP in one of the T2 circuits. Previously, he has been absolutely unbelievable. He's the guy to watch for sure today on the Geek side. And then Myth, going to bring that one up back in a second. Now, there was a cam issue, but solved, my friends, as we get to see which one of the players on that side is going to carry them. I think we already know who it is, though. Okay, tech issue on that side. It looks like everything's working good on our sides, but you know how it is. Not live siege without some live siege problems. So we're planning on getting them all out of the way early here in the T2 Voltage series because we want to watch and carry the rest of the matches forward problem free. So we're going to make sure we get it out of the way early, my friends.
Hopefully we've got something going back on here. Some technical difficulties here in the morning. But what we were saying, there is a noticeable difference between these two teams, right? When you're talking about KD, when you're talking about survivability, there is a standout here. And what do we see on the side of Geek? It is an incredible amount of just absolute gunners. Almost everybody sitting in that positive KD arena, right? 1.3, 1.4, 1.1, 1.4, 1. Every single member having an absolute gunner session. And then you come down to survivability, which is one of those big stats at the bottom, right? And getting pretty close to that halfway mark. You can see several players almost getting up to that 50%. So not only are they winning gunfights, but they're winning multiple gunfights and surviving a ton of rounds. And that's going to be a big part of the problem here for Myth. Let's take a quick look at their team stats and see how it's going to sort of match up here. There you go.
I know we said the crowd favorite Dynamite and Akari, those two guys are certainly going to carry this team. Are they going to be able to carry them through a best of 3 to the final is the big question. Myth has got, I think, all of the pressure on them to try and shut down this team because, honestly, EK right now has just been printing money in the T2 circuit, and Myth has got their work cut out for them. But you take a look across the board here, really those top 3 guys, all above 1 in the KD. So they're not as consistent and not quite as good as the Geek side, but that doesn't mean they can't win rounds, can't win maps when it comes down to it. So a couple of them, though, are going to have to put in the work today.
Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't just a best of one sprint to the end, right? This is not necessarily a marathon, but it is more difficult, right? You can't just be a razzle dazzle, quick flash team. You've got to stick it out for at least 2 maps, which means you have got to be firing on all cylinders, my friend. This first one's going to be crazy, especially because we're seeing Bank and Cafe as the starters. You can have that very extended roam out game. You can have those multi-floor extensions going on, and can make it incredibly difficult. We've been seeing on Bank and Cafe specifically those mid-floor games where you're extending below, where you're extending above, and just playing the time waste game. Both Bank and Cafe lend themselves to that.
Yeah, and the team, obviously, you're alluding to it, that wins the vertical going to likely win the day. So we talk about that battle all the time. And across the board, both Bank and you said it, Cafe, very, very vertically based. So we'll see which team can handle that bigger map better. But then Chalet is the wild card here, right? Very close quarter combat. The map, the style of the map forces some of those very close engagements, very small areas to operate in when it gets down to the execute. So it's a very different focus. So what we see in the first 2 maps might not be what we see in that final 3rd map. And again, favoring this GK team, but Myth, I think they're going to be able to put up a great match today here, and it's that first one, and I think pretty close to starting, right?
Yeah, pretty close to kicking this one off. This first map run is going to be the mood setter, the pace setter here, right? Bank can be especially difficult because there are some of those solved site issues, right? Obviously, the basement is going to be where we see a ton of that action going down. It is the comfort site. It's where you're going to find most of your wins at. 2F being a little bit solved, but I think the big test will be, how do these teams play the Tersh, right? How are we going to see? Is it going to be that open area, which probably, right? But we've been seeing the rise of the offsite, which has been incredibly fun, right? So an archives teller hold that with a potential for success, I'm here for it. I think that is going to be that first big telltale sign on how the rest of these matches are going, for sure.
Yeah, if they can manage the vertical and hold on upstairs, they might be able to find a win, but it is a dangerous gamble to try and take on that archive teller side. And when you take a look, let's talk about bans for a second at the op side. Both of these teams have got some favorites that they like to bring out. We see generally GK loving to ban Warden and Azami. And then on the Myth side, they're really favoring Ying and Grim. So tells me that Myth really loves that quick execute style. They want to make sure that they're not having to worry about this attacker utility when they're trying to defend. So they're getting rid of the Ying and the Grim. Both of those, I think, are going to make it much more difficult. And then on the GK side, to get rid of the Warden, that says they want to play those kind of ops. They want to play that real aggressive in your face, the Ying, the Blitz. I think we're going to see some of that come out early here, especially on Bank, where, like you said, very large extensions. We're going to need to roam clear and clear a lot of map ground early.
Yeah. Watch out for that util dump when we're talking about basement specifically run. Okay, well, we're just about finished getting all the players into the lobby. We are going to take a quick break here as we get the last few in. But when we come back, we're bringing you that first map. Ayo.
Let's go.